Uh, Hi. Um, I woke up like not that long ago, and it's like 4 p.m. It's New Year's Day. Um, I wasn't even gonna do this, but here we are. So I guess the joke's on me. But I know I'm looking a little rough. I've been up all night, and last night, New Year's Eve. Uh, I gotta tell you, I was reading The Far Side for some reason, and it was really doing it for me. Like a lot of these are really, really funny, and I think I've been way too hard on Gary. So, Gary, I'm sorry. My New Year's resolution is to be nicer to Gary. A few other things, but I'm not gonna do those. So, we're the one that I'm gonna try to stick with is be nice to Gary. But the thing is since I just woke up and I don't look great and blood, but um, it's late and the sun's going down because it's the winter and the sun sets at 4, but um, it's probably gonna get dark earlier than usual, so I'm gonna turn on the light. I know I do this every video. I'm like debating turning on the light as if it's gonna be an issue, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, sorry about the logistics of this video. Maybe not being the best. That's not even the right word. Okay. So, the first one for we're finishing 1982. So the first one is it's a mother and her son. I'm gonna turn on the light right now. It's a mother and her son, and he's swinging. He he's swinging on like a tree, but the tree has anvils growing on it. Like the fruit of this tree is an anvil, and like we can see a few of them have fallen on the ground, so like it drops the anvils, and she's saying, "All right, Billy, you just go right ahead. I've warned you enough times about playing under the anvil tree." So this woman is rightfully concerned that her son is playing under the anvil tree, but he's just not listening, and there's like one right above his head. But I guess she has decided that enough is enough, and if he wants to play under the anvil tree so bad and get himself killed, he can. So Billy is Billy is the architect of his own downfall, and it appears his mother has accepted that. This one is a mountain, um, and on the left side of the mountain, there's like this mountaineer, and he's got a flag, and he's trudging up like he's trying to conquer this mountain. And on the right side, there's just like kids pulling sleds up to go sledding down the mountain. So the mountaineer thinks this mountain is like this big challenge, but these kids are just using it to go up in the sled. God. This one is it's a man and a woman. The man, his face isn't finished. Like it's just eyes and then it's blank and it just feeds into the wall. And his wife is, and he looks mad because we can see his eyes to know that he's glaring. But he's sitting in an easy chair reading a newspaper, and his wife is there and she's holding her coat, and she's all dressed up like they gotta go somewhere, and she's impatient, and she's saying, "For heaven's sake, Murray, we're supposed to leave in 5 minutes, and you're not even drawn yet." So since Murray is a cartoon character, part of his dressing regimen is he has to, or something has to draw the rest of his face on. But when he's at home relaxing, he doesn't have to be drawn. Sorry, it feels like my nose is stuffed, but it isn't. It's just like clogged, but not actually. It's like clogged with air. I don't know, but it feels unpleasant. So, sorry. This one is two bears, and there's a bunch of cave people in a tree, and they're shaking the tree to make the cave people fall off, and like one of them's got a big arm full of cave people, and one of the bears is saying, let's see, I guess your brother's coming over too, better give it one more shake. So like they got to make sure they have enough cave people to feed all the other bears that are coming over for their get together. This one is kind of similar to another comic that we saw earlier. There's a lot of repeats, I'm noticing. Like, I do, part of it's just egotism, but the other part, I want to see where I'm messing up and like what I need to work on. So I do occasionally like watch a little bit of the old videos, and I do notice that like a lot of the comics, there's a lot of repeats. So we'll deal with those when we come to them if I notice, which I probably won't. I like this one. This one is a rhino. There's two rhinos, but so in the foreground there's a woman and her rhino, and the rhino is wagging its tail excitedly. And in the background we see a new couple is moving in, and they also have a rhino. And she's the woman in the foreground is saying, well, King, looks like the new neighbors have brought a friend for you too. So like King is excited because he has a new rhino friend to play with, so he's wagging his tail. This one is two dragons, and one of them they're in bed, and one of them is turning away from the other one and saying, I'm sorry, Erwin, it's your breath. It's fresh and minty. So like in our world, when you wake up in bed next to someone, they might not want to talk so close to your face because after you've slept before, I assume, and like your breath doesn't smell good in the morning. But to dragons, I guess it's the opposite. Like they want their breath to smell awful, but in the morning it smells like they just brushed their teeth. I don't know. This one is three men sitting on a bench, and it says left to right, Old Man Winter, River, and Higgins. So Old Man Winter's got like a long white beard and a white robe. Old Man River is in a scuba gear. He still has an all long white beard. And Old Man Higgins is just an old man in a hat reading a newspaper. So I guess it's just like Old Man Higgins is a normal old man, and Old Man Winter and River are like personifications of natural forces. So tag yourself, I guess. I don't know. I think I'm Old Man River because he looks the most uncomfortable. Old Man Winter looks mad. I don't know why. Like he's got his arms crossed and his legs crossed. He's also not wearing any shoes, but he looks mad. As if like he's upset that there's a normal old man there. But Old Man River just looks sort of uncomfortable. And Old Man Higgins is just reading his newspaper. This one is like three guys in lab coats, and one of them is riding a dinosaur skeleton, and the other ones are arguing below. And one of them is saying, I assume you're being facetious, Andrews. I distinctly yelled second before you did. So they're arguing about who gets to ride the dinosaur next. This one is a bunch of vultures flying towards some other vultures who are presumably eating a some carrion, and it says, "Yes, we're open," like there's a sign, as if it's a restaurant or something. This one is it's a salesman has so this man has answered his door, and there's a salesman, and the salesman is holding a flyer that says double your IQ or no money back. And the man who has answered the door is saying, well, I don't know. Okay, sounds good to me. So like he's stupid, and I guess this salesman just preys upon the stupid to sell his fake IQ enhancing treatment. This one is okay. It's the Ace Ladder Company building, and it's burning down, and all the people on the top floor are looking out the window, and one of them is saying to another one, "Wait a minute, say that again, Doris. You know, the part about if only we had some means of climbing down." So Doris has just sort of like spurred their escape by saying, "Oh, I wish we had something that we could use to climb down." And since they're a ladder company, they have just that. But it's taken them a bit to realize this. This one is it's kind of like the pogo stick one. It's like we see that there's an opened box with a chin-up bar, and this person has installed the chin-up bar in like a doorway, but it's too close to the top of the doorway, and the top of the doorway is broken, and the whoever it was is lying on the floor. We can only see their feet and their broken glasses. So they bought a chin-up bar to work out at home, but when they tried to use it, they like slammed their head into the top of the door and broke it and fell on the floor, and I guess like knocked out or died and broke their glasses and the door. This one's like a stand-up comedian doing stand-up in front of a rhino in the middle of a field, and the caption says, "The African rhino, an animal with little or no sense of humor." So this guy's doing it for some unknown reason. This stand-up comedian is doing his routine for this rhino, and I guess the rhino is gonna gore him because the rhino does not understand stand-up. But I don't really understand why he's there. This one is an archaeologist in a cave looking at cave paintings, and he's shining a light on one of like the normal cave paintings, like it's like a bison with spears in it. But below that, in the dark where he can't see, we see one that's like a crudely drawn face that I suppose is supposed to be a mean caricature of Zog Jones. And it said there's an arrow pointing to it, and it says Zog Jones cooks his meat. So in the prehistoric time, whoever drew this didn't like Zog Jones, and back then it was like in like a bad character trait to need your meat cooked. This one's a cheetah, or it's a leopard in a tree, and a man is taking a picture of it with a camera, but there's like a bunch of cameras in the tree. So I guess this leopard kills things that take pictures of it and then keeps the cameras. I like this one. This one's it's this house, and a woman is on the phone, and we can see in the window that there's just this giant like monster eye looking in the window, and she's on the phone, but like she doesn't look upset, and she's saying, "Hello, Emily, this is Gladys Murphy up the street." "Fine, thanks." "Say, Emily, could you go to your window and describe what's in my front yard?" So like she opened the window shades and sees that this giant monster, this horrifying, angry monster eye is looking in the window. And she's not, we don't even know if she's concerned. She looks fine. but she calls her neighbor to ask, just to like look out the window and see what it is. So like she's calmly dealing with the situation. Perhaps not in the most urgent way, but I don't know, I think I like that one. This one is some cows in a barn at night, and one of them's coming out. Well, one of them is like approaching the barn from outside the barn, and another cow has greeted it and is saying, "I'm sorry, but we haven't any room. You'll have to sleep in the house." So I guess like instead of having a human sleep in the barn because there's no room in the house, the cow has to sleep in the house because there's no room in the barn. I think that's what's going on. This one is a movie theater, and everyone is like yelling, "Focus, focus!" Like the screen is out of focus, and the movie theater operator has accidentally dropped and broken his glasses, so like he's not gonna be able to work the thing because he can't see. So the movie's gonna stay out of focus, and these people are gonna be really upset. This one is two penguins. One of them's got a piano, and the other one's like dancing with like a cane and a hat. And the other one, and they're just on an iceberg, and there's just water around it, and like a few icebergs in the distance, but there's nothing there except them and the water and like their piano. And one of them is saying, "No, no, no." Well, the one playing the piano is saying, "No, no, no. Try it again. Remember, this is our one and only ticket out of here." So this act that they're performing is like it's like their ticket to the big time to get them out of this place. But I suppose they're waiting to be discovered by a talent scout, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. This is the old lady who lives in the shoe again, and her kids are looking out at like this like scary boot on a hill that's like their boot has windows and a door, and it doesn't have any laces, but like it looks relatively well maintained. But the boot up on the hill has like holes in it. It's basically a big booted cleat, like it's got spikes on the bottom. And it looks really rough, and there's an old angry man in it, and she's saying, "Now don't you kids forget, stay away from old Mr. Weatherby's place." So many people live in shoes in the far side. However, not all of them are friendly. Or maybe she has some other problem with him. Like maybe it's like ethnic hatred or something. I don't know. We don't know what's wrong with Mr. Weatherby, other than the fact that his boot is not. Maybe she's just classist because his boot is less nice. This one is a reference to My Dinner with Andre, but it's My Dinner with Andy, and it's just like a man with a pie in his face, and he's eating dinner with this guy holding a banana, and like his tongue is sticking out. He has the wine glass on his head, and he's pointing and laughing, and he's got stains all over him and like all the food. So like instead of the intellectually stimulating discussion with Wallace Shawn in My Dinner with Andre, this is Andy. And Andy is a menace. Andy is not a good dinner guest. Or companion, I suppose, because they're at a restaurant, I think. And it's just not going well. This one I don't like. This one it's not super bad. I just don't appreciate snake phobic things. But like this one, it's a kid and his dad outside. I guess it's not snake phobic, but it's a kid and his dad outside this place called Murray's Petland. And instead of like dogs in the window, it's snakes. And the little boy is saying, oh please, Dad, the little brown one." So like he just wants a snake. And that's it. I don't think that's funny. I think people like snakes. People like dogs. The next one is I like this one. I just like the way this one is drawn. This one is like this monster. And she's in her house and she's watching TV, and outside of her window is just like this little boy, and he's looking in the window, and she's just screaming like this horrified, this horrible scream, and like pushing her table over, dropping her book, like this is the worst thing she's ever seen. So it's just role reversal again, but it's very funnily drawn. Um, this one is two bears, and they're about to eat three people in sleeping bags, and one of them is saying sandwiches. This one's a relay race, except instead of like the baton, it's ducks. And one of them, well, there's like a bunch of guys running, and some of them are holding the ducks, but one of them is handing the duck to another guy. And it just says the duck relays. This one is young Jimmy Frankenstein, I suppose a relative of Victor Frankenstein. And his dog is like patchwork, like it's sewed together. Like his dog is his monster. And it says young Jimmy Frankenstein, but he's just a kid, and he looks pretty happy about his dog. This one's a man on a ledge, and a bunch of people are watching him as if like he was threatening to jump, and a pigeon is just kicking him off the ledge. So I don't know if he was planning to jump actually, or if he just was up there to draw a crowd or something. I don't know, but the pigeon has made the decision for him. This one is a bear. It's two cave bears. I believe they're short-faced cave bears. Because of their large size, short faces, their place in the prehistoric era, and the fact that they live in a cave. And they are battling cave people, and one of them is saying to the other one, "Criminy, it looks like every summer there's more of these things around." So like, humans are expanding, and like population growth has accelerated, and these bears are noticing it because I guess they get attacked by humans a lot, and the short-faced bear is extinct now. So I assume this comic is a commentary on that. This one's two aliens, and one of them, they've locked the keys in their flying saucer, and like the humans have discovered them and are coming to like discover extraterrestrial life, I guess, because they're crashed on Earth. And one of them is saying, "Well, here they come. You lock the keys inside. You do the talking." So I guess they anticipated that this could happen if they got like this is a known occurrence to aliens who crash on Earth. But they're not going anywhere, so that one's got to explain it, because that one's the one that fucked up. This one's just this one's a man and a woman, and they're in a car and they're driving, and the woman is looking out the back window and she sees a taxi following them, and in the back of the taxi is a dog, and she's saying, "Blast it, Henry, I think the dog is following us again." So I guess they left the dog at home, but it got a taxi to follow them and see where they were going. This is another porcupine comic. It's Robin Hood, and he's giving two porcupines a big bag of gold. And it says, "Historic note, until his life's destiny was further clarified, Robin Hood spent several years robbing the rich and giving to the porcupines." So, Robin Hood, early on in his career as a noble bandit, misinterpreted what he was supposed to do, as if he was not the one who came up with rob from the rich and steal to the poor. Like someone told him to do that. But he thought it was porcupines instead of like it got the word poor got extended to porcupine. And I guess he realizes his mistake, that like he shouldn't be giving the money to the porcupines. I don't know. I think I don't know about that one. This one is some boomer shit. This one's like, so in it's the evolution of the dog. So in the first one, it's like a dachshund basically. It's like really low to the ground and like a small dog. And then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the last one it's like a Great Dane and it's like big and noble. And then next to it is the small dog again, as if to say like humans have bred dogs to be small again. And you know, whatever. Um, oh, I remember this one. This one's in a movie theater, and like in the, it's a, it's like there's this big monster man in the in front. We only see his silhouette and his eyes, but he's picking up a woman by her feet and like shaking her or doing something to her in the movie theater. And everyone's yelling at him and they're saying, down in front, sit down, sit down. So, like, they're not concerned about this giant monster man attacking women in the theater. They just want to watch the movie and they want him to sit down so he stops blocking the screen. I like this one. I also remember this one. This one is it's a man, he's sitting on a couch. His two children are laying on the floor and there's a dog with them and they're all just staring at a blank wall and it says in the days before television. I think that one's funny. This one's like a janitor in the I don't know what it's called. In the hospital where like they keep all the newborn babies. Did I even do that? Like a room with a bunch of cribs in it. And all the babies are in it. And he's rubbing the babies on his shirt. And we see that there's two babies stuck to the ceiling. So like he's doing like the static balloon thing with the babies. And then sticking them to the ceiling. And it says, late at night and without permission, Reuben would often enter the nursery and conduct experiments in static electricity. So, Reuben comes into this room at night at the hospital and just rubs the babies on his shirt and sticks them to the ceiling. I don't know how long they're up there. I bet they fall eventually. Which probably not the best for Reuben's job security. This one's the Big Bad Wolf. The Big Bad Wolf's in it. So it's a human couple have visited the Three Little Pigs like they're friends. It's too, so yeah, and the Big Bad Wolf is outside and they're saying, listen out there, we're George and Harriet Miller. We just dropped in on the pigs for coffee. We're coming out. We don't want trouble. I'm gonna close the door. So I don't want anyone coming up here. This is my show. So like I guess they just don't care about the Three Little Pigs. They just want to save themselves. So they're trying to explain to the Big Bad Wolf that like just let them go and then eat the pigs. I don't know. I don't really care about the Millers. I don't think they're the best friends for the Three Little Pigs. This one is the Founding Fathers, but for some reason they're all dressed as like British magistrate judges, like with the weird curled wigs. Not like the powdered wigs that you see, like the long ones that they still have to wear today. And they're dressed in red. Like these are judges, but they're writing the Constitution. And they're saying, so then, or the Declaration, I don't know, one of them. And they're saying, so then, would that be us the people or we the people? So the grammar not going great. This one is two chickens talking to two cows, and they're arguing about math. And the cows are saying, well, if you take the equivalent mass and divide the 10 to the negative 3, you get the same result. And the chicken is saying, true, but you're forgetting the basic premise of my theory, which is, and then the farmer comes in and they go moo, moo, cluck, cluck, so like they pretend to be just animalistic when the farmer's around. I don't know why. This one is some kangaroos. And one of them looks really mad at the other one, and he's saying, well, there's 4 of them, but there's 2 in the foreground who are the subjects. And one is saying, just jump, fool. You don't have to go boing, boing, boing. So that one of the kangaroos is making annoying sounds while he jumps. This one is a penguin. I don't know the song reference. But, it's a penguin, and he's standing up in like a sea of penguins, and he's saying, I gotta be me, oh, I just gotta be me. Like he's singing that. But I guess the joke is that he's just like a penguin like the rest of them. This one is like a bunch of military guys at like where they launch the missiles. Like where, I guess, I don't know. It's like it's where they launch the missiles, and one of the guys making like an annoying face at the missile operator next to him, and the one that he's making the face at looks angry, and he's turning around and he's saying, General, quick, look, Henderson is doing it again. So Henderson just like antagonizes the man sitting next to him at work. But I think this is also implying that there's a missile launch occurring, as if like because of Henderson's distracting of his coworker, they missed the fact that the missile launch is happening. So I think a nuclear war is about to happen. I could be wrong, but that's what the sign above them says, missile alert launch. This one is a man with a scorpion on his nose. He's asleep in the desert. Well, he's just woken up because there's a scorpion on his nose. And the scorpion is saying, excuse me, but the others sent me up here to ask you to please not roll around so much. Which is nice of the scorpions, because I guess they could just sting him. But instead they're using their words. And I think we can all respect that. I don't know. It seems like the scorpions are not at fault in this situation, and they're just being nice. So, I don't know. Sorry. This one is an ant. It's a kid, and he's got a magnifying glass, but we only see his shadow. Like he's approaching the anthill to burn the ants with the magnifying glass. And the ants are saying, say, no, I'm starting to feel kind of warm. So he's burning the ants with the magnifying glass, and they don't know what's going on, but they're starting to feel warm. This one's a man and a woman, and they're like facing down this giant bug that's bigger than both of them. And the man has like a rolled up newspaper, and he looks really scared, but his wife is behind her, or whoever he's with is behind him, and she's saying, "Step on it, Arnold, step on it." But like, I don't think Arnold thinks he can I don't think anyone really thinks that that's gonna happen. I think the bug has the upper hand in this situation. This one is an alien farmer feeding his humans. He's feeding them earthling feed. And he's going, "Here, yakety yak yak yak, come come, yakety yak yak." So I guess that's the sound he makes for humans. Um, this one is kind of confusing. This one is gonna be hard to describe. So, the caption says Professor E.F. Gizmo and some of his many inventions. And it's a scientist with his arms crossed and smiling like he's proud of his many inventions. And I don't begrudge E.F. Gizmo his pride. I'm sure many of his inventions are nice. But his inventions are non his inventions are like indescribable objects. Like one of them is like 5 olives inside a, well, they're not olives, but they look like olives inside in a row. Inside, I'm gonna describe all of them. Inside like a paperclip looking thing, but not a paperclip. And it has 2 feet facing in towards each other, but it's only like this big. And one of them is like a, it looks like a dick, like a penis on a stand with a wind up thing, and it's got like springs coming out of the glands. One of them is, maybe these are all sexual. One of them looks kind of like an enema, or maybe I'm just a freak, but like, or I don't know what that is. It's like a bag with like a weird thing on the front and it's deflated. It looks like you fill it up and then squeeze the bag and the bag squirts into something, so, or sucks something out, so do with that what you will. One of them's like a party hat with a seesaw on top of it, but not a seesaw. It's also, they're all like this big. Like a party hat size, but it's just got like a weird double thing on top of it. One of them is like a flute, but on the end it's got like this tuft, like leaves or something, like a palm frond. One of them's just like a coin with a spring. One of them's like a little cart with a smokestack and a push thing and like 4 dots and 4 wheels. But like I said, they're all small. One of them is like the top, like the top of a rocket or something. I don't know how to describe that one, but there's 2 of them and they're connected by like a rod. And then there's like a stand-up thing that is the tallest of the inventions, but it's still only like this big. And it kind of looks like a person, but not really. Like I don't think it's supposed to. But it's got like a top that also kind of looks like a palm tree, and like these 2 arm things that hang to the side. I have no idea what any of them are, and like that's the point. Like I get it. these are gizmos because they were invented by Professor E.F. Gizmo and they don't necessarily have to have a purpose, but that's what it is. This one is two like guys in overcoat. They're like mafia guys. They're like wise guys, and they're standing by Loch Ness, and it says Loch Ness mobsters. This one is an old man. We've seen this comic before. This one is an old man, and he is approaching the Fountain of Youth. Not Youth's soda fountain from one of the previous videos. Like, this one is just a fountain, and it's labeled, there's a sign there that says Fountain of Youth. And the old man drinks from it. It's 5 panels. In the first one, he's approaching. In the second one, he's drinking from it as an old man. In the third one, he transforms into, like, a young man. But he keeps drinking, and he turns into a baby. But he's still, like, a hunched... And in the last panel, he's walking away as a baby, but he's still a hunched-over old man with a cane. He just has the head of a baby. So I guess the Fountain of Youth only works on your head. This one is a Native American, and he has his ear to the ground and he's listening to the ground, and there's a spear next to him and there's a spear next to that spear, as if there was someone with him who left, and he's being approached by like a giant, like, he's being approached by like the US Army, like the whole thing coming around the corner to where he's listening. And he's saying, I say 50, maybe 100 horses. What you say, Red Eagle? So Red Eagle saw what was going on, or heard, and took off, but left his friend behind. And I don't think the U.S. Army doesn't have the best track record of dealing with Native Americans in the nicest possible way. This one is 2 devils in hell, and they're watching 3 like tortured souls. The 2 in the foreground are sweaty and they look miserable, but one of them is carrying a big wheelbarrow full of rocks, and he's just whistling and looks like he's having a great time. And they're saying, you know, we're just not reaching that guy. This one is two laboratory assistants, kinda like Igor's, but they're not that severely deformed. And they're helping out this insane doctor who looks insane. And he has an ape in the cage. In his laboratory, there's an ape in a cage. And that appears to be unrelated to the entire thing. But he's looking at a test tube with like this crazy look on his face, and he said something, and well, one of the laboratory assistants is saying to the other one, something's in the air, Carl. The doc's getting that old twinkle in his eye again. I don't want to stay on this one anymore. This one's a caveman comic. It's a caveman inventing the wheel. He's chiseling out, it's not panels, but like there's 6 sections. The first one, he's hammering a rock with a chisel. The second one, it's like more round. The third one, it's a wheelish shape. The fourth one, he's almost got it. And then the 5th one, he has hammered it into the shape of a wheel, and he looks pleased with himself. But in the 6th one, it's deflating. So it's a wheel in many senses, even though it's a rock. This one's two cows in bed. One of them is waking up and screaming, and he's saying, the golden arches got me. So this cow has just had a nightmare that he has been taken by McDonald's and killed to make into food at McDonald's. This one is a wolf and a sheep meeting at night. Sort of like a Romeo and Juliet situation. The wolf is giving flowers to the sheep, but looking back. And the sheep looks really excited about the flowers. And it says, inevitably, their affair ended. Howard worried excessively about what the pack would think. And Agnes simply ate the flowers. But, okay, so Howard is really the one whose fault this is. Howard wants to be in a relationship with this sheep, but he's too embarrassed about what, like, the pack will think about him dating a prey animal. But, like, Agnes the sheep, I don't see the problem with her eating the flowers. Maybe that's not what Howard meant by the flowers, but I'm sure she still appreciated them. So I think this is mostly Howard the wolf's fault. This one is it's like Columbus-esque. It's like a guy leading a bunch of explorers, and they've just landed at what I assume is the American continent. And he's saying, look, gentlemen, purple mountains, spacious skies, fruited plains. Is someone writing this down? So they're gonna write the song or whatever. I like this one. I like all the scientist ones, I think. This one is, or at least like the vast majority of them. This one is for scientists. Two of them, well, one of them is like bent over a table, and he's doing like that with his mouth, and another scientist is just hitting him on the back like this, and two scientists are observing, and the one that's doing the hitting is saying, and notice, gentlemen, the faster I go, the more Simmons sounds like a motorboat. This one's a caveman and a cave woman in a tree, and they're watching another cave couple pass, and the cave couple that's passing by is waving at them, and they're on the ground, but the ones in the tree, the woman in the tree is saying to the man in the tree, and now there go the Wilsons. Seems like everyone's evolving except us, because like the Wilsons have a spear and they have fire and they're walking. So this couple is frustrated, or at least the woman is frustrated that they're not as advanced as their neighbors. This one's 6 panels, and it's just like a skinny guy trying to do a pull-up, and in the last one, he does it. And he says, 1. This one is 2 kids, and they have a tire swing over like a pond, but half of it's been like bitten in half, and a shark fin is swimming away. And they're saying, well, one of them's saying to the other, listen, you go tell Billy's mother, and I'll start looking for another old tire. So Billy was on the tire swing, and a shark ate him and part of the tire. But one of the children is still thinks this is just fine, and they'll just try again. But he's sort of pawning the difficult task off to his friend to go inform Billy's mother that her son has died and been eaten, and that his body is unrecoverable. But the other one's just gonna go look for a new tire so they can do this again. Um, this one's a monster that's just hit its head on the door frame and woken an old woman up. And it says things that go bump in the night. This one's a kid coming down the stairs and he doesn't have a nose. And he looks really excited. He's coming down the stairs to like his parents. They have noses. And he says, "Mom, Dad, the nose fairy left me a whole quarter." So I guess his nose fell off, like his child nose, and the nose fairy gave him a quarter. I suppose he's gonna grow a new nose. I don't know. His parents don't really look. They don't look concerned, but they also don't look supportive. I don't really think they understand what's going on. This one's it's at a bar. It's a table. In the foreground is a table with two women and a female warthog, and in the background it's like the bar area, and there's a male warthog and he's looking at the female warthog, and one of the women is saying to their warthog companion, "Uh-oh, Lorraine, someone seems to be checking you out." I guess this one's like an advertisement for clubs, but it's a caveman. His wife is in the background, but she has no impact on the comic. She's just looking out. Or I guess she could just be an unrelated cave woman. But in the foreground, there is a man holding a club. As if like he's talking about it to a camera. And he's saying, "Do you know me? I have to deal with lions, wolves, and saber-toothed tigers. That's why I carry one of these." This is two cowboys fighting on top of a train. And the train conductor is there, and he's saying, hey, you idiots, the train is stopped. Come on down from there." So they only are supposed to fight when the train is moving. Like, I guess it's part of the Old West culture. I don't know. This one is a bunch of cows stampeding through a canyon. And they have just trampled a cowboy because we can see like the hat flying up in the air, and one of the cows has a coffee pot stuck on its leg. This one is two people in bed and it's sunrise and they're waking up, but their faces are in disarray. Like the man's nose is on his forehead, the woman's nose is on her chin. Their eyes are in different places for both of them, and so are their mouths, and it says the embarrassment of mourning face. This one is a man and a woman fishing, and the man has caught like this giant blob-like fish that's coming up. The fish really doesn't seem to be like worried about the hook, but the guy's really struggling to pull it up. And the woman sees the fish, and she's saying, "Good heavens, Stuart, we're definitely going to need the net." But it's really big. Like, its mouth is bigger than their whole boat. So I don't know how that's gonna go. The morning face one was the one on my birthday. I guess that's accurate. This one's a scuba diver feeding fish niblets. It's two panels. And in the first one, he's like nonchalantly feeding the fish. In the second one, all the fish are gone and he looks worried. And it says nature's subtle signs of danger. So something's coming that scared all the fish away. And I guess he's got to get out of there now, or so. I don't know. This one is it's a beach and a lot of people are playing in the water, and there's 4 sharks. 2 of them are swimming towards the beach and 2 of them are swimming away. The 2 that are swimming away are really fat. And the 2 that are swimming towards, I suppose, are just going to eat more people. But the people have not noticed. So I guess these sharks just eat people and swim away. Like, they just eat their fill of people at the beach and then swim away. And the people just don't notice. This one is two birds in a cage, and they're watching 2 children eat dinner. Well, they're watching 2 children who have finished dinner and are now doing like the wishbone thing. And they're saying, now here comes the barbaric finale. But like, yeah. Like, if these birds just watched these kids eat a bird and they're in a cage, and now the kids are tearing the bones apart of the bird, I bet it's a barbaric finale. That must be awful to watch. This one is the creature from the Black Lagoon again, but a pelican is swallowing him and having a really hard time, like it's get caught halfway down its throat. And there's another pelican nearby giving like moral support and saying, now you've got him, Vinny. But I don't think Vinny's got him. The strange thing about this comic is only one of the people is colored in. Like I said, all of the comics on this page are in color. But in this one, like, the comic is in color, but only one of the people is colored in. Like, the other people in the comic are black and white, but one of them, as well as the other things in it, are all color. Like, the background is color. I guess it doesn't matter. Or maybe they're just like really muted for some reason. And it's 4 guys at a table with a bunch of money on the table, and one of them just has a massive, massive head, like an encephalitic head, and he's the one that's colored in. And there's a police officer and a detective there, and they both have guns, like they've just barged into the room. And the detective is saying, freeze, okay, now, who's the brains of this outfit? And the other ones all look really stupid, and they have small heads. So it's implied that the large-headed man who is colored in is the brains of the outfit. This one's 2 aliens, and they're just really quickly driving over a city street, and all the humans are terrified of their flying saucer. But they're just going, yee-haw. So, like, they're just going for a joyride, and I think they like freaking out the humans, but they're not really doing anything. This one is, a fit. This one's a fish, wearing a like an old-fashioned diving suit made for a fish. This one's hard to explain. Okay, so there's 3 fish in it and a woman, and the woman is in a nearby room. But so it's 2 fish in a bowl, and the bowl is on top of a piano. And there's a 3rd fish who has gotten out of the bowl using a like old-timey fish-made scuba suit, but it's like the reverse, because like the tube leads back into the fishbowl so like water can get in. And he has fallen onto the keyboard part, or like he's walking on it, and I guess the keyboard of the piano is playing while he walks and making noise, because the woman is looking back and he looks nervous, and the other 2 fish are saying, the fool, he's on the keyboard. So like this fish, I think, was supposed to find a way out, but instead he's alerted the homeowner to the fact that the fish are trying to escape. But to be honest, I don't think they're gonna get very far anyway. Because the tube is not very long, his water tube. This one is a farmer and his wife, and they have 2 cows with them. And the cows both have drinks, and one of the cows is dancing on the table as if like it's drunk. And the woman is saying to the husband farmer, "Satisfied? I warned you not to invite the cows in for a few drinks." So like this farmer thought it would be nice to have his cows come into the house and then drink with them. And his wife thought it was a bad idea because something like this might happen. Okay. The next one. The next one is a psychiatrist and a man who is there to receive therapy, and he has a psychiatrist couch, but his patient is sitting on the coat rack, like at the top of the hat rack, I guess is what it is. And the client has a raincoat, flippers. He's wearing a blow up pool thing around his waist. He's got one party hat on his head and one around his nose. And the psychiatrist is saying, "So, Mr. Fenton, let's begin with your mother." So, like, Mr. Fenton needs a lot of therapy, I think, is what this is trying to say. I like this one. This one is like, okay, so it's a man and his wife have had another woman over, and she has fainted because his head has like popped off of his body because it's on a spring. And his wife is trying to like revive her, but she looks really mad at her husband, and she's saying, "Well, Emily is out like a light. You just can't resist pulling that little stunt of yours, can you, Earl?" So whenever like they have company, Earl uses his strange ability to detach his head from his body because it's on a string to like prank their guests, I suppose. I'm just gonna check if this is recorded. Sorry. Yes, it is. Okay. So like his head pops off of his body because it's on a string or a spring, and it scares people enough that they faint. Because, like, yeah, that would be pretty insane to see. But, like, he does this a lot, I guess, to the point that his wife is, like, sick of it. This one is, 2 really ugly short people at a party, and they just see each other across the room, and they're both smiling, and it says, "And then from across the room their eyes met." So they're like perfect for each other. That's nice. I'm glad they met. This one's 2 cave people in a box, and there's a saber-toothed tiger coming. And like it's like a okay, so it's like the way the box is set up is like so there's like meat in the box. So the saber-toothed tiger goes in the box, but the box is propped up on a stick with a string. So like you pull the stick away and then the box falls on the tiger when it goes to get the meat. However, these cave people, being cave people, I suppose, since as we know in the Far Side, cavemen are not too bright, but they're in the box. Like, they didn't consider that they could pull the stick away from outside the box. So when the tiger comes in the box, they're still gonna go through with the plan and pull the stick out from under the box so the box falls, but they're just gonna be in there with the tiger. And I don't think it's gonna go the way. I don't think they've thought it out as much as it should have been thought out. And one of them is saying, "Shh, Zog, here he comes. Here comes one now." So not gonna go well for for our heroes. This one is God. Hi. So, here's what happened. I had to go eat dinner. And I did. My mom came up and she was like, "Time for dinner." Which was nice. We had Indian food. She was listening for a while, which is very embarrassing. But what are you going to do about that? So I sat down and I said this. And I thought I pressed record. And I'm really sure that I did. But I guess not. I guess that's just a false memory. But I read through the rest of the year. I did all of it from where we left off, which was the Garden of Eden. And then I looked at my phone and there was no video. So we're gonna do it again, I guess. I haven't like taken a break or anything. So I just did this like just now. And now I'm gonna do it again. And I'm not too happy about it. Because like I was at the end, and there's a lot after this are just really, really hard to explain. And it took me a really long time to get through a few of them. So like, I don't want to do this again. So I apologize if I like rush a little bit or if I seem a little annoyed, but I hate iPhones. I know it's not the iPhone's fault. I know I probably just like didn't press the button correctly or something, but like, I just want to say, from the bottom of my heart, I despise Apple and everything that it does. But you gotta, I mean, I want people to like me. So I get an iPhone. Which is shallow. I'm a little shallow. I also, I watched a little bit of the video just to see where we were at today. And like of the video before I ate dinner. And I said revolution instead of New Year's resolution, so if you think that I'm dumb, you're right, but I know the difference between those words. Like I said, when I did this video, I had like woken up like 15 minutes before I started recording it. I know I probably said an hour, but I was just lying. I'm gonna lie a lot. That's just the sad truth. But I'm here. So we're gonna do this again. I don't look good. I thought, I know I said I was looking a little rough, but like, do not like the way I look in this video at all. Which is a shame. But I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna like, do more later. Because I already did this. So like, I sort of feel like, to spite God, I have to record it again immediately. I'm also like My body is really bad at maintaining temperature, so I get like super hot, then I get super cold. So yeah, that's gonna be a thing. I'm gonna be taking my clothes on and on. Not all the way. I mean, maybe one day if I'm feeling a little frisky, but you know what I mean. So we left off with the Garden of Eden comic. I really hope I'm not like just angrily describing all these comics, but I really think that's what's gonna happen. But the Garden of Eden one is just like God dropped a jar of humans on the ground, and they're not even in the Garden of Eden. They might be, but like they're just humans and they were in a jar and now they're free. And there's 3 of them. So it's not like Adam and Eve. There's 1 guy and 2 women, unless there's 2 Eves. But yeah. The next one is 2 bears. Oh my god. This is one of the ones that took me a while. So we're off to a good start. Is it recording? Yes, it is. Okay. So 2 bears, and one of them is saying, "Late again, this better be good," to the other one, like this bear's partner, when it returns home, is upset that it's been gone for so long. And the reason it's been gone for so long, and it's got like number 8, and it's got like written on it, it's got like tracking devices, it's got a tranquilizer dart in its ass. So like when the bear's living partner says, "Late again, this better be good," like the bear's excuse is pretty good. I assume that it's like the bear version of being abducted by aliens. There's another sad bear comic coming later. This one's a giant clown walking through the streets of a major city, and the National Guard is there, and they have like a giant pie on a string, and they're gonna like hit the clown with the pie. This one is 2 old men sitting on a bench feeding birds, and there's 2 vultures looking at them, but I don't think they know they're vultures, because like the vultures are just waiting for them to die. So they're saying, "Now take them big birds, Barnaby. Never eat a thing. Just sit and stare." This one is an alien. This one I explained for a lot longer than I'm gonna do now, but all it is an alien, and he's in school, like an alien child, and he's drawing a picture of his house and his dad and a planet, and the teacher is saying, "Very good, Ernie," like he's doing a good job in school, and the joke is just that he's an alien. This one is a fish committing suicide, but it's jumping out of the water straight up instead of down, like a human would jump into the water down. This fish is jumping out of the water up towards a bridge, and its friends are saying, "We're too late, he jumped." This one is a guy raking leaves, and there's a hose on the ground, and in the foreground there's a dog hidden behind a tree. He can't see the dog, and the dog is barking into one end of the hose, and the other end of the hose is down near the man raking leaves, so the man thinks the hose is barking at him, and that's it. This one is a woman and a man in the jungle camping, and the woman is saying, "Ah, Murray, a spider was in my shoe," but Murray is being constricted by a giant snake, and she has not noticed. This one I also took a really long time with, but it's a bunch of like Vikings, and you know, like the stereotypical Viking hat. It's being introduced to them by someone named Bjorn Jorgensen, who is a Viking. Like he's just invented it because they're all wearing like metal duck bobblehead helmets, as if like that's what they wore before they adopted the horned mythical helmet. And the lead Viking is saying, "Now on to other business. Bjorn Jorgensen here has a new helmet design to show us." This one's a painter painting a bowl of fruit, and the fruit is dancing. One of the bananas has a banjo, And he's saying, knock it off, I said. This is a still life. This one is Earth experiencing a nuclear catastrophe, and aliens on the moon are watching it and going, ooh, because I guess it looks pretty from space. This one I don't like. It took me a while to get through it. And it's just like a guy, and it's a soldier in an old U.S. fort, and he's been shot by an arrow, and one of the other soldiers, there's two other soldiers there, and one of them is reading a note that's attached to the arrow, and he's saying, ha, the idiot spelled surrender with only one R. This one is a man selling jars on the street, and they're labeled the jitters, heebie-jeebies, the creeps, and like the willies. So that's what he's selling. This is better than fucking recording, I swear to God. This one's a weed in a garden of flowers, and it's about to be uprooted by this woman. And we can only see her shadow, and she's got a hoe with her. So like the weed is nervous because it's about to be hoed. This one's some guys being attacked. They're wagon train operators or whatever, and they're being attacked by flaming arrows, presumably from a tribal people. And they're saying, hey, they're lighting their arrows. Can they do that? This one's two snakes. And they have a son, and this, or a daughter. It's a snake, a child snake. And the snake is shaking it's they're rattlesnakes. That's important. And it's shaking its head instead of its rattle. Can you see my head? Okay. And the snakes, the male snake is saying, this is your side of the family, you realize. So like he's blaming the son's inability or like lack of knowledge about how to use his rattle on his wife, and his wife looks sad. So like he's a dick, basically. This one I like. This one I thought was really funny. This one is it's a guy at a dinner party, and he's saying, well, no, he's not saying anything. He has a like a head on a stand, and it has a plug. Like you plug in this head, and it does something. And his wife, and they have company over, and his wife is saying, "For heaven's sake, Andrew, you're not gonna plug that horrible thing in, are you?" So his wife is like doesn't want him to plug this in because it does something that she doesn't like. But he really wants to show the guests what it does. And I am also curious. But maybe she's just seen it a few too many times. This one is, I don't like this one. This one's an alien cutting down a tree, and the alien is saying Raxforg instead of timber. And the joke is just like aliens have different languages because they're aliens. So it's just like the word for timber is different. This one is a man and a woman sitting on a giant eye in the middle of the ocean, but they don't know it's an eye, and like they think it's just like an island, I guess. And the man is saying, "Hang on, Betty, someone's bound to see us eventually." But little do they know, something has already seen them. And that's the irony. This one also took me a long time to describe. Like there's a lot, that's why I'm kind of mad, because a lot of these like took me a really long time to get through. This one is a frog, and so it'll probably go a little quicker though, because I know them more. But this one's a frog, and like this comic implies that when frogs shoot their tongues like to catch things with them, there's a recoil device that allows the tongue to like come back into the mouth and recoil. And this frog's saying blasted recoil unit as if his is malfunctioning because he's like all tangled up in his tongue and he's not gonna get the frog. So like the fly. So his tongue has malfunctioned and he is upset. This one is a bunch of parakeets in cages, and in the jungle, like they're in a tree in the jungle, but they're still in their cages, and it says where parakeets come from, just like implying that parakeets always live in cages. This one is a bunch of ducks in a V formation, or geese, I guess, walking in a V formation, and they're looking up into the sky and seeing geese flying in a V formation. And the leader is saying, "Say, look what they're doing." So like, they're migrating, but they're just walking, and they haven't like figured out that they can just fly yet. This one is a man hanging up a lost pet poster, and it says "Lost Ginger, 30 feet long, dark brown," and there's a picture of a big snake. This one, and like a woman is looking at it. This one's a bird in a cage, and 3 birds outside the window that the cage is next to are like dancing and singing to mock the bird in the cage. It's kind of sad. Like they're just torturing this bird. This one's a crocodile just like eating a boat, and like there's people in it, like a canoe. There's a man and a woman, and it's like the end of the boat is in the air, and the man is in front, and he's falling into the mouth of the crocodile. And the woman is saying, "Rub his belly, Ernie, rub his belly." So like, that's probably not gonna work. The next one I spent a really long time on because I was like really going into what it could be about. But essentially, it's a Christmas comic, even though we're in October right now. And it's a man with a giant spider crab monster. And I don't know if it's like fake or if it's just like he found it somewhere. It's like almost as big as him. And he's carrying it into the house, and his wife has answered the door. His 2 children are watching TV, and there's a Christmas tree. So I believe what it's implying is that he's gonna give it to them as a gift, because he says, "Shh, I want to surprise the kids." So I think he's gonna wrap this spider monster up and put it under the tree for his children as a gift, but he doesn't want them to know yet. But it's also possible that he's just, like, the Christmas tree is unrelated, and he's just gonna like scare his kids because they're watching TV. I don't know. Like I said, I spent a lot more time on it last time, but these are hard. These ones are not as easy to describe. There's like more. They're getting more complicated, which I don't care for. This one is a man trying to get his dog. He's trying to say "speak" to his dog, but like he forgot the word "speak," so he's saying no, and then the dog says "speak" to like remind him the word he's thinking of, and he says "speak," and the dog says "whoa." This one I thought was funny. This I still do, I guess, but it's a man. It's 2 people, a man and a woman, holding up this man, and there's a cat on the floor, and like both the man they're holding up and the cat look like they really just went through something bad. And the woman is saying, "Well, I guess both Warren and the cat are okay, but thank goodness for the Heimlich maneuver." So this man somehow swallowed a cat, and both of them are alive now because they performed the Heimlich maneuver because he was choking on the cat. So like, yeah, it is good that they know the Heimlich maneuver, but I don't know how this happened. This is 3 birds. They're robins, and they just ordered a pizza. And they're saying, let's see, mosquitoes, gnats, flies, ants. What the? Those jerks. We didn't order stink bugs on this thing. So the pizza place messed up their bird pizza. And they're mad. The next one is a zoo, but it's an exhibit with humans in it. It's like there's a guy and his son looking at this exhibit, and the exhibit is labeled Riff Raff, as if like the humans in it are Riff Raff. There's a guy smoking. There's like a lascivious woman laying down. There's a guy in a wife beater with a can of beer. So they're like an exhibit in the zoo. And they're riffraff. So I guess in this society they put these people in the zoo, which seems like a gross violation of human rights. But they don't seem to be upset about being in the exhibit. They're just sort of dealing with it. I guess I can't leave. This one is two aliens, and they got two kids in a jar. They're like really big, the aliens, and the kids are screaming like in the jar because they've been captured by aliens in a glass jar. And one of the aliens is saying to the other one, "Now don't forget, Gorok, this time punch some holes in the lid." So they've done this before, but perhaps not understanding that humans need oxygen, the kids suffocated and died in the jar. So they're back again to try again. For whatever reason, they are kidnapping children and putting them in jars. But they want them alive. The next one I spent like 10 minutes on, and you'll get why. If any of you know The Far Side well, this is like one of the most famous comics of it. It's Cow Tools. And and there's a note next to it. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I'll read like some of it because it is pretty funny. But like it's an article about the Cow Tools comic, but basically like it's a cow with its tools, and the caption says Cow Tools, and like there's like a crudely made saw, there's a stick, there's like a rock with a handle and a misshapen rock, and there's a cow there that's just like posing with its tools as if to say like, here's my tools. And there's a barn in the background. And the reason this comic is so famous is that no one understood it, which I've never really gotten. Like, I get it. I've always gotten it. But like, the joke is just like that cows do not have the capacity to make sophisticated tools. And that's it. But like, people thought there was more to this comic. And I think this is kind of like, maybe subconsciously this comic inspired what I'm doing. Because like, people were like, wait, there must be more other than just the cow has tools. But basically it was like, the article says the phone never stopped ringing for 2 days. It didn't seem like the greatest joke Gary had made. Those who didn't get it were searching for far-fetched explanations, further than Gary's wildest thoughts. And like, his mom didn't even understand it, and apparently she gets most of his jokes, which I think is nice. She said, "Dear, I don't think I quite understood this one." And it says she understands most of his offbeat jokes, except for these occasional slip-ups. But I don't think just because a lot of people didn't get it, that means it's a slip-up. Like, just because I don't understand one of Gary's comics, that doesn't mean he messed up. That just means I don't get it. I don't think any of these are slip-ups. But, so Gary like explained it. Gary explained this comic thusly. He said, "This cartoon was meant as an exercise in silliness.
I've never met a cow who could make tools, but if I had, I feel sure that its efforts would lack something in sophistication and would resemble the crude specimens shown in the cartoon. So, and it says, that's it, folks, the punchline. If cows could build tools, those are the kind they build. It's just like cows can't build tools like us. Because, like, they're cows. They don't have these. Like, what are they going to use tools for, even if they can build them? And then it says, for those who want further explanation, read on. Larson came up with the joke after remembering a definition of mankind. One of the things that separates human beings from animals is that humans can build tools. Not true at all. Make sure you remember that. Many animals can use tools. But anyway, I started thinking of, well, cows, said Larson. Big shock, Gary. Who at one time worked at a humane society. Very nice, Gary. I'm a big fan that you worked at a humane society. I like I said, we're pro Gary now. But says, I like cows. I just think there's something almost intrinsically humorous about them. I even like the name, cow. I thought obviously cows don't make tools, but if they did, they would look like this. At the time I thought it was hysterical. Wrong. No, Gary, it's funny. Don't beat yourself up. I think people are just dumb. And that's okay. The next one is Tarzan. Better be still recording. I'm like freaking out now. The next one is Tarzan. My throat hurts because I've been explaining these so much. The next one is Tarzan, and he's on a swing, and like an ape has been pushing him, and he's saying, stop the swing, I'm getting sick, stop the swing, ungawa, ungawa. So like the ape doesn't know that Tarzan wants to get off the swing because the ape doesn't speak English. The next one is another one where the dog wants to kill whoever's coming in its yard. So like, it's a mailman, and the viewer knows that the dog is there, but the mailman doesn't. The dog's behind a bush, and the dog is dressed as a samurai, and it has like a katana. So the dog's gonna kill the mailman because it's a Japanese warrior, I guess. This one I spent a really long time on, but cause a lot of it is up to interpretation. But basically, it's a guy dressed as a bird, and he's coming home from pretending to be a bird, but I'm pretty sure he can fly. And his wife has just gotten off the phone with one of the neighbors, and she's saying, Arnold, it's Mr. Wimberly on the phone. He says the next time you buzz his house, he'll have his 12 gauge ready. So Arnold likes to dress up as a bird and fly around and like annoy people. He does something that can be considered buzzing a house. And I really don't know what else it could be other than him flying. Because he's dressed as a bird, like he's got wings and duck feet and like a bird hat. Not a bird hat, but like he's got some feather things sticking out of his head. And I guess just like the neighbors don't like it, and this one is threatening to shoot him next time he does it. The next one I really attached to myself because it's a man with like disheveled hair sitting in a dark room with one light reading a book, and it says all things cold and slimy. The next one is a sheep, and the sheep is saying, wait, it's in the middle of a herd of other sheep, and the sheep is saying, wait, listen to me, we don't have to be just sheep. So he wants the sheep to be more than just a herd of sheep. This one I spent a long time, just like, they're not even hard to describe, there's just a lot of elements. Like, this one is an alien dressed as a human trying to assimilate to human society. And he's met, like, these two street toughs. And he's saying, why, yes, thank you. I would like a knuckle sandwich. So, like, the alien doesn't know what a knuckle sandwich is and is just trying to be polite. But, like, these people are mean. And I guess they're gonna punch the alien. But, like, I don't know. I don't think that's gonna go well. The next one is an easy chair with a big spring sticking out of it, and there's a hole in the ceiling above it. So, like, whoever was sitting in the chair got shot out of it by the spring. And there's a woman in the next room who doesn't know what has happened, and she's saying, "Good heavens, Ronald, I think something just landed on the roof." So Ronald got shot out of his chair by the spring, like the broken spring, and she doesn't know. She just heard the noise. This one is a bird, and it's leaving Margaret. It's saying, "I'm sorry, Margaret, but it's time I spread my wings and said goodbye." So it's just like this bird is leaving this woman. This one is two cavemen hunting a mammoth, and it's like a baby mammoth, but I don't think they know that. And it's hiding behind the leg of a huge mammoth, like bigger than mammoths are. And I think they think it's just a tree trunk, but it's a mammoth leg. And they're saying, "Ha, we got him now," but they don't. This one is 4 criminals planning to rob a bank, and the police have shown up and are arresting them. And one of them is saying, "I knew it, I just knew it. Shaving a haircut was a lousy secret knock." So, like, to prevent people from, like, discovering their bank robbing plans, they have a secret knock to get into the meetings, but it's a well-known shave and a haircut. Last time I did shave and a haircut. I like knocked on the table, but no, not doing it. Not doing it again. Because I'm mad. I'm mad at the iPhone. This one is a man with a giant nose yelling at his wife who has a giant mouth. And he's saying, "Oh, is that so? Well, you've got a big mouth." This one I spent a long time on because it is also up to interpretation. It's it's an overweight woman leaving a candy, well, she's trying to leave a candy shop, but she's being sucked back inside by an unseen force. And the force is so strong that, like, she's hanging onto a parking meter to try to stop herself from being sucked back into the candy shop. But, like, the parking meter is being bent backwards. And there's a man inside the candy shop that works there, but he just, like, is not related to what's going on. He just works there. And I don't know if it's like a commentary on obesity. I don't know if it's like supposed to be like she can't leave the candy shop because of her food addiction or something, but, like, she doesn't want to be in the candy shop, but she can't leave. This one's 4 penguins on an iceberg, and it just says, "Well, here we are again." That's all it is. Oh, well, once again, here we are. My eyes were closed. But, this one's a bunch of cowboys, and they forgot the cows. That's it. It just says, "Say, wait just a dang minute here. We forgot the cattle." This one I spent a really long time on. This one, so it's a kid playing in a yard, and in the foreground we see his parents, and in the background there's another house, like their neighbors, but their neighbors are alligators, and the alligators are watching their son play in the yard, and the mom is looking out the window at her son playing, and she's saying, "I just don't like it, Al. Whenever Billy goes outside, the new neighbors seem compelled to watch every little thing he does." So it's like, I guess the alligators want to eat Billy, but, like, his parents haven't put it together yet. I'm not sure. They just seem to be watching him. I don't know. This one is like, okay, it's called The Evolution of Man. It starts as a fish, then it turns into a lizard, then like a rodent, then another rodent, then like a monkey thing, then an ape thing, then like a caveman thing, and then like a Cro-Magnon modern caveman. Like the first one was more primitive, and then the last one is a man posing with a fishing rod and the fish from the beginning of the poster. Let me check. Sorry, you know why I'm checking. I'm checking because the world is cruel. This is the sad bear one. So it's two bears and they have muzzles on and they're being forced to like ride a bicycle with a sidecar around in a circle by this ringmaster who has them on a leash. Like they've been captured by the circus and are being forced to perform. And one of the bears is saying, "Looks like a trap," I said. "Nonsense," you said. "No one would set a trap out here in the woods," you said. So like one of the bears knew that this was a possibility. And the other bear was like, "No, it'll be fine. Who would set a trap in the woods?" But now they're enslaved. This one is another one where like the cops are bad. It's like, so it's this woman sitting and she's being interviewed by this detective, and there's two cops behind her. And the detective is saying, "Try to relax, ma'am. You say it was dark and you were alone in the house when suddenly you felt a hand reaching out from behind and Johnson, knock it off." Because Johnson, the police officer, is reaching for her with his hand, like to mimic her current trauma. This one, okay. I spent a really long time on this one because I think it's really funny. I don't know if I'll go for as long as last time, but like what it is, it's this guy in a room, and the room has a dark room, and he's got a bunch of phones, and he's talking into two of them at once. Well, he's not talking, he's listening to two at the same time. And all the phones are labeled they, THEY. And on the door it says "Do not disturb," but his like wife is there, and like as if like this door has like the sign has been on the door for a while, and his wife has just like not come in, but now she's just been like suspicious, and now she's finally come in to see what's behind the door, and she's saying, "You, Bernie Horowitz? So you're the they, and that's what they say." So what this comic seems to imply is that this man, Bernie Horowitz, is the, like, when, like, let's say someone is like, "It's gonna rain today," and you're like, "Really?" And they say, "Well, that's what they say." They refers to this man. It refers to Bernie Horowitz in this room with all his phones. So like when people say that's what they say, it's him. It's his, like, I don't know if he just like knows everything or it's just like his opinions that are just universally accepted for some reason. But apparently you call Bernie Horowitz and you ask him a question and he tells you, and you say that's what they say, meaning him, meaning they. Bernie Horowitz is they. And I guess he just like didn't tell his wife for some reason. I don't know, that he doesn't want her to be involved in this, because like he's keeping it a secret for some reason. I don't know. He takes it very seriously, I suppose. This one is just like it's just like, you know, when the motorbikes fall over in like a domino effect. It's like that, but with horses outside a saloon. And the cowboys are mad at the cowboy who did it. This one I think is really funny. When I read it the first time I did this, I was laughing for a really long time. It's a courtroom, and it's so like there's an attorney like grilling the witness or whoever's on the stand, but in the back, like with the jury, there's a cow standing up and yelling with its hands raised in the air. And the like as if the cow is a member of the jury, but I don't think that's what it's implying. I think the cow is just with the jury for some reason. But the cow is yelling, all right, I confess, I did it. Yes, that's right, the cow. Ha ha ha, I feel great. So, whatever crime is on trial, this cow committed it and has come to the courtroom to just like brag about it. And is like, so like, let's say this cow murdered someone and it's just like come to the court and it's revealed that it is the one who has committed the crime. So this cow is confessing to whatever crime is being on trial, and they're all turned and looking at it. So I guess the trial is over now because we know. Well, I'm sure they'll do something, but like, yeah, I really like this one. The next one is it's two dogs, and they look really excited because they're about to get fed. And one of them is saying, "Oh boy, it's dog food again," but like not sarcastically, like they're excited that they get to eat the same thing every day. This one I spent a really, really long time on because it's really hard to describe. And if you're like, if someday someone is watching this, like with the comics on hand to follow along with me, and I know that's a stretch, but like, if that ever happens, you'll understand why this is so hard to describe. It's this man has like come to this house to ask for directions. He's knocking on a door of a house to ask directions. And the person who has answered the door is okay. It's this really tall guy. His body is like a fluffy green speckled ball. He has a rooster tail. He has duck feet. He has like a red tuft ring around his neck. He has elephant arms. He has a really long neck. He has glasses. He's got big ears. He's got a propeller hat. And his nose is like this coiled yellow vacuum thing. I don't know. And the guy who is asking for directions is saying, "I wonder if you could help me. I'm looking for 523 West Cherry, and oh wow, deja vu." So I guess he thinks he's seen this thing before, and that's the joke. I really had a rough time getting through that last time. Ellen came up, like Ellen DeGeneres. So yeah, this one is. This one's a mailman, and he's opened a mailbox, and there's like small people inside. And I guess he's asked them who they are, because on the side of the mailbox it says the Wilsons. And the wife is saying, "We're the Wilsons, bozo. What's it say on the box?" So like, they live in the mailbox, and he's like, "Whoa, who are you?" And they're like, "We're the Wilsons. It says so." I don't know. I guess he's delivering mail to them. This one's a fat guy, and he's on the beach, and like he's just come out of the water, but he looks exhausted, like he just got out of the water. He escaped these two sharks that's in the water, and he's collapsed, like he just in the nick of time got out before he was eaten. And one of the sharks is saying to the other shark, "He was magnificent. Just magnificent, and I almost had him. I can't talk about it right now." So it's sad that it lost the potential for a hearty meal. This one is, I don't want to do, but it's like a lot of these I just don't want to explain because this one is just like, they're supposed to be prairie dogs, but they're humans, and it says the rare and timid prairie people, and like they're like poking their heads out of holes, and that's it. This one I like. This is another one where it's just like a great visitor homeowner dynamic. This one is so it's a man who has built a pillow fort out of couch cushions in his living room, and he's inside it, and his wife is there, and she's saying, well, you could just rebuild the fort later, Harold. Phyllis and Shirley are coming over, and I'll need the cushions. So, like, she doesn't care that he built the fort, and like he can build it later. She just like needs the cushions because she has guests coming over, and that's really all it is. But I like it. This one's okay. This one's like, so it's a neurosurgeon named Frank, but he operates like a, it's more, his business is set up as like sort of like a barber shop or like a butcher or something, because like there's a sign that says Frank's Neurosurgery, or like a restaurant, I guess, and on the window it says Frank's Neurosurgery. There's a sign that says The Works, $200, and it says no waiting. And Frank is outside reading a newspaper and smoking a cigarette. So I guess it's just like a very casual neurosurgical establishment that Frank runs. This one I don't really understand. It's a bull, and there's two bulls yelling at him. Like he's in the ring with the matador, and the bulls are yelling, "The cape, Larry, go for the cape." Like Larry doesn't know what he's supposed to do, I think is the gag. But I don't know why they'd want him to go for the cape. You'd think they'd want him to go for the matador. The next one is, so in the foreground there's two castaways in a boat, and in the background there's like three guys on a fishing trip in a motorboat. And one of the fishermen is yelling to the castaways, "You boys got a bottle opener?" Like they forgot the bottle opener on their fishing trip. So, like, you know, they do not understand that these people are in desperate need of help. And I hope they figure it out, because like they do need help. Sorry. If I seem like I'm not looking at the camera, it's because I'm looking at the reflection of the phone screen in the window to see if it's still recording, because the phone is propped up against a window. And it looks like it's still recording, and I also use it to see whether or not like you can see my head, because I'm worried about it getting cropped or like cut off. But yeah, this not the best setup, but like I said, we work with what we have. And I know I haven't said that, so yeah. This one is some ants walking in single file, and like there's a shoe behind them, and the one first in line is saying, "Shh, knock off that crunching noise, pass it on." And it's just like they don't understand that the crunching noise is them being crushed by the shoe. So I guess they're gonna die because the shoe is gonna crunch. They're not gonna know. They don't know that it's a shoe. This one I don't like. This one's just a guy in the jungle, and he's like a mobster, and it says jungle wise characters instead of street wise characters. This one I took a while with. It's frankly quite disturbing. It's another one where like something bad is about to happen and the people don't know it yet. So, we, the viewer, have a view from outside the window of a house, but the comic is taking place inside the house. And there's this giant man, like a scary man, hidden behind the curtain, and we can only see because we have the outside view. And on the inside there is two women. We only see their silhouettes because they're not hidden behind the curtain. And one of them is saying, "See, Barbara, there's no one in here." So Barbara knows that there's someone in the house. But whoever she's with is saying, like her friend or her partner or whatever is saying, the other woman is saying, "See, Barbara, there's no one in here, no one outside. I'll even open the drapes and have a look." So they're going to open the drapes and discover the man And he's gonna do whatever it is he's there to do, I guess, but like, disturbing. This one took me way too long, and I don't want to do it again, but it's an old diver, like an old scuba diver with the tube that leads back up to the boat. And he's being sucked inside a cave by a giant tentacled beast. And the two guys that like are are like running the air hose in the boat are saying, "Now wait a minute. He said 2 jerks means more slack, and 3 meant come up, but he never said nothing about 1 long, steady pull." So they don't understand what's going on. But like, how could they? They're not down there. But they do have a system based on tugging the air hose. This one I don't like. I think I just don't like it. It's 2 panels. It's like it's about how people are afraid of snakes. And it's an army has approached this castle and they want to, I guess, to capture it. And they shoot a snake into the castle in the first panel, and in the second panel all the people run outside because they're afraid of the snake, and just like, I guess, giving them control of them in the castle. And the caption says history in the snake. This one is a small man, and he's trying to pick up this woman at a bar. And so this man says, "Well, here goes. If I just remember to act shy and vulnerable." So like, this man thinks that if he acts shy and vulnerable, like, I guess that's just like his tactic for like picking up this woman. But I think it's implying that like, since he's already small, he'll be seen as shy and vulnerable. I'm not sure. This one is like an explanation of why car keys like fall behind the couch cushions. It's so whoever owns the car keys left them in their pants, and they draped their pants over this chair. And there's 2 gnomes, and the gnomes are one of the gnomes is stealing the car keys, and the other gnome is lifting the couch cushion and pointing, so like the gnome will put the car keys under the couch cushion, and the caption says "car key gnomes." So at least in the Far Side universe, the reason that car keys go missing and like fall into things or like fall behind things is because of these mischievous gnomes. This one is 2 mosquitoes. One of them's biting someone, and it's like gonna pop because it's so full of blood. And the other mosquito is saying, "Pull out, Betty, pull out, you've hit an artery." So like, it bit an artery and it's too much blood is coming into it, and it's probably gonna pop. This one is 2 aliens have crashed their flying saucer into the torch that the Statue of Liberty is holding. And one of them is saying, "Well, Zoran, is this a close enough look for you?" Because like, Zoran crashed the flying saucer because I guess they're like visiting Earth and they wanted to see the Statue of Liberty, but now they're trapped here. So that's a shame. You got a while. No. We have 2 pages left. Okay, good. Wow, I didn't notice that it stopped recording until the last page. That's really sad. This one, it's a bunch of like mathematicians, and one of them, his head is like deflated. And it says, "Ha!" Well, one of them is saying, "Ha! Webster's blown his cerebral cortex." So, like, Webster did math too hard, and his brain popped, I believe is what it's saying. The next one is 2 owls, and it's 3 sections. They're facing away from us. We only see their backs. One of them like taps the other one on the shoulder as like a joke, and the owl turns its head around because they can rotate their heads a lot. This one's 3 dogs. One's a mom. The other 2 are kids. And the mom is saying, "I'm not worried." They're eating dinner, and the mom at a table. They all also have clothes. And the mom is saying, "I'm not warning you again, Sparky. You chew with your mouth open." So in the dog, it's just role reversal again. Or not role reversal, that are like expectation reversal or like etiquette reversal. Because like, I guess in the dog world, it's considered rude to chew with your mouth closed. This one is a man biting into an apple, and there's worms inside, and one of the worms is saying, "Egad, it got most of Uncle Jake." So like, the man is eating the apple with the worms in it, and I guess he ate their uncle. The man doesn't really look fazed. This one I laughed. This is another one that I like laughed at for a while. So you missed me laughing for a long time twice. And I just really like this one. It also took me a really long time to explain because the joke is just really simple, but I just like kept repeating it over and over again because I thought it was funny. But it's a man and his dog in an apartment. Like, we only see their apartment building. So like, we see them in the window, and that's the only view we get. It's just a man angrily looking at his dog. And it says, "Edwin lived reclusively in his midtown apartment with his dog Lola, whom he secretly loathed." So all it is just like, this man hates his dog. And that's the whole thing. And I really like it. It's really funny. Oh, this is another one that took me a really long time to explain. So it's 6 panels, and it's like a cocoon or a chrysalis. I'm not sure which is the correct one, but like a butterfly is coming out of it, and the chrysalis or cocoon is attached to this plant with a bunch of berries that look like eyes, but 2 of them actually are eyes, but we don't know that yet. So spoiler alert. So the first panel is like the cocoon on the branch. The second one, the butterfly emerges. The third one, it's coming out more. The fourth one, it's all the way out. And the 5th one, the frog gets up and sticks the butterfly with its tongue and like eats it. And then the 6th panel, the frog like turns and looks at the viewer as if to say like, "I'll do this again if I have to." But like, it looks angry. And then the caption says metamorphosis. The next one's about how like birds shit on cars, and it's a pterodactyl flying away, like smugly from a caveman, and the caveman has invented the wheel, but I guess like the pterodactyl shit on it, because it's like, it says, "It was a beautiful day, the sun was shining, and Zog had just finished washing his new invention." So Zog invented the wheel, and he was like washing it, and then a pterodactyl came by and shat on it, and he's mad. The next one is didn't turn off, did it? Okay, no. The next one is a man. It's a cat walking on a key. It's like it's role reversal, but like in a strange, it's like, so there's this piano that's like a grand piano that's propped open, and there's a cat walking on the keys, and since the cat has walked on the keys, it's startled the man who has been hiding inside the piano, and he's like fleeing the piano. And I think it's because like, sometimes cats hide in pianos, and like when you play the piano, it scares the cat, and the cat jumps out of the piano. But it's just like reversed. I think that's what it's about. I wouldn't be surprised if it was different, but that's, to the best of mine, to my knowledge, that's what's going on. This one I think my mom has hanging up in her room at school. In her classroom. This one is 3 dinosaurs, and they're smoking, and it says the real reason dinosaurs became extinct. So like, you get it. They died out because they're chronic smokers. This one is a dog that has just finished running across a busy street, and there's a bunch of other dogs on the other side, and they say, all right, Rusty's in the club. So they're hazing Rusty to see if he is worthy of their dog social group. This one is the one Gary released on Christmas of 1982. It's 2 cavemen, and they're looking at a glacier that is like concerningly close to the entrance of their cave. And one of them is saying, say Thag, wall of ice closer today. I don't think they understand what's going on. So like, I think the wall of ice is gonna trap them in their cave. Or maybe not. Maybe they'll get it and leave. Next one is, there's a lot of prehistoric material on this page. The next one is, it's also the last page. The next one is a caveman walking his mammoth, and he's saying walkies, walkies, and I don't get it. I think it's just like the mammoth is not healing, or like not behaving. But it's a lot bigger than him, so there's not much you can do about it. The next one is also prehistoric and also about smoking. It's 3 cavemen. 2 of them are smoking logs, like they're lighting logs on fire and smoking them. And there's a 3rd log on the ground and a 3rd caveman, and they're like turned toward him, and it says primitive peer pressure. So I guess they're pressuring this 3rd caveman to start smoking logs with them. The next one is Count Dracula, but it's his birthday. And for some reason, the people who are throwing his birthday party are Igor and Frankenstein's monster, I think. It might not be Frankenstein's monster. They're really just like 2 weird looking guys, and one of them has green skin and is kind of big. But like, other than that, there's no hint as to who they are. But it's definitely Count Dracula, and it's definitely his birthday. Because it says, he's wearing a party hat, and there's a banner that says, Happy Birthday, Count. The R in birthday is backwards. So I guess his friends aren't too bright. But, the gift that they've given him is an Acme sun lamp. I guess it's a gag gift, or maybe they just want him to die. And he says, well, for goodness sakes, what is this thing? But like, I bet Dracula can read. So this one, I don't want to say I don't like it, but like, there's gotta be a better way it could have been done. Cause I bet Dracula. This one reminds me of the Smokey the Bear one. But like, I think Dracula is gonna know what's up. The next one's a rhino, and it's got like birds on it, and that's not important. The important thing is that it has a hat on its horn, like its horn is stuck through a hat. So I guess it killed someone, but like the hat is still stuck on the horn. I like this one. So it's King Kong, but it's like after he's died and like fallen off the building. And there's a bunch of people gathered around, but like, he's crushed this old woman's grocery bag, And she's saying, well, that does it for my tomatoes. And that's the last comic for today. So I think it's a good one to end with. So yeah, that's 1982. We're into 1983. So we're done with the first 3 years. We're about halfway through the first book. Maybe a little less. But that's not bad. Maybe I'll start making these longer. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, sorry it got cut off and then I did it again. That was awful. But yeah. So I'll see you again. Probably tomorrow. Sometimes like I say tomorrow and I do record it the next day, but then I don't upload them because they're hard to upload. Anyway, that's all. That's it. So happy New Year. Happy 2020. So yeah, see ya.